Hi, it's Lindsay Smith from Remax Jazz. Thanks for tuning in to another segment of Friday Morning Coffee. Hi, it's Lindsay Smith from Remax Jazz. Welcome to another segment of Friday Morning Coffee. This is my weekly update for the local community, Whitby, Oshawa, Curtis, and Bowmanville, and to give a little bit of information on some of the local goings on for the real estate market. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of pieces of property that I sold recently. One this week and the other one a few years ago. The one that I sold this week was a parking space, and a lawyer that I've worked with for years had called me and she said she wanted to buy a parking space in her condo building so she'd have two spaces. Now it was listed at $18,950 and we ended up going in low. I think we went in at around $14,000, and the seller of course signed it back, and the price it came back at was an acceptable price, but I convinced the buyer to go in a little bit higher, but not super high, and I think it was about $800 less than what the sign back was. Ultimately, she ended up buying the property at the price that I had recommended, so she saved herself about $800 from what she would originally have paid. Interesting comment she made. She said, "I don't know who had more fun with this, you or I," and she was surprised that I took the effort to reduce the price by a few $100s. Now, if I skip back about 5 years ago, this lawyer and I worked on something together. I had a client that she ended up closing a piece of property for. They called me. They had a piece of property, 38 acres in Bowmanville, and he jokingly said, "If I can get when I can get $2 million for it, I'll sell it." So I did a bit of research and figured out it was worth probably three. We got together and we were sitting down talking about marketing and listing the property. I had never sold a piece of property remotely close to this price, but we decided we listed at 3.9 million because a builder's not going to be scared off in that price range. So within a week we had an offer. It was $3 million, and the sellers were, when I showed up at their house, they both had pens in their hand, and it was basically, where do I sign? But I knew that because of the speed of the offer that there was probably more money there. That offer kind of died. We just couldn't put it together. The following week we had two more offers, and then the first offer came back again. So we had three offers on the property. Two at full price, 3.9 million, and one at 3.7 million. Now, I asked the sellers if I could play with it a bit, and they were a little nervous, but they said sure. So I called the agent. We had one offer that we really wanted to work with because I respected the builder and we figured he'd close it. So I called the agent and said, "Look, we want to deal with your offer, but we want you to round it off to $4 million. And there's a little bit of a struggle on the phone, but ultimately, 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, he was there with a $4 million offer. And the seller had indicated that, she said, "You just got us $100,000 more than we were asking." And she said, "I make just over $20,000 a year." And she said, "That is 5 years of my income." So it was a really nice situation. So what it did, it caused me to think this. I was thinking afterwards, okay, this week, if I couldn't sell real estate, if I lost my real estate license and I had to hire an agent either to help me buy a house or help me sell a house, what were the qualities I would look for? For a seller, if I was looking to sell a house, negotiating skills would be one of them. Marketing skills would be another. How to market the property, both online and offline. Product and neighborhood knowledge. Understanding, why is my house worth what it's worth? Why isn't it worth more? The one next door sold for this. So being able to interpret the market, and the ability to take the property listing and network it to the other agents. Now, if I was hiring an agent to sell me a property, negotiating skills would be the number one of them. Number two would be ability to figure out what I'm looking for. So they wouldn't have to drag me through 1,000 houses. They could shortlist what I was looking for to make it so that most of what I'm going through would be something I could consider. Contract skills, making sure I'm protected as a buyer, that I'm not going to get myself into trouble with the contract. And banking, being able to get me pre-qualified and understanding the mortgage market. So if I look at the buyer and the seller agent, there's one common skill I believe is the most important, and that's the skill to negotiate, the ability to negotiate. I've been selling real estate for 24 years. Negotiating skills don't happen overnight. I remember when I was 1, 2, and 3 years in the business, I certainly didn't have the negotiating skills I have now. If I go back to that property that I got $100,000 more than asking, I would have been scared to death 2 to 3 years into this business. I wouldn't have had the confidence to be able to send an offer back at 3.9 million expecting we're going to get 4 million. That's the thing. So when you go to hire an agent, you're going to figure out whether you hired the right agent or whether the person can negotiate at a high level. Unfortunately, it may not work out. You may find out that they can, you may find out that they can't, but that will kind of ravel as you move through your buying and selling process. If you want any more information about buying and selling a piece of property and the qualities to look for in an agent, www.soldbylindsay.com is my website. There's a plethora of information on there. There's lots of information that you can poke through, and otherwise you can give me a call at 905-434-5222. That's my office, and again, that's 905-434-5222. Have a great day.